Good afternoon, dear students. So in the last class we had discussed regarding the flower. So some of the basic points involved in the flower we have discussed. So the flower, it is made up of 4 whorls, and the mode of arrangement of the sepals and petals is called as estivation, and also we have studied with the flowers, that is the calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium units we have studied in detail. And the flower, based on the cutting of flower, the flower again it is divided into 2 types. One is actinomorphic and another one is zygomorphic. So actinomorphic and zygomorphic are the 2 conditions which has been classified based on the cutting of flower, or if the flower is cutted into 2 equal halves based on the central axis or based on the central point. If it is divided into 2 equal halves, then it is called as actinomorphic, whereas zygomorphic is a condition where the flower can be cut into 2 equal halves only in a one plane. That is a symmetry. We are mainly studying the symmetry. Symmetry is nothing but the arrangement of the whorls of a flower. That is a symmetry. So in the symmetry, as I have said, the actinomorphic and zygomorphic, it is very important for 1 marks, as well as in the family also we are going to come across with this word actinomorphic and zygomorphic. So actinomorphic is a condition where the flower can be cut into 2 equal halves in any plane passing through the central axis. What this word refers? Now let us take the example, this as a flower. Let us consider this as a flower. Now the flower can be cut into 2 equal halves in any plane passing through the central axis. This is very important. Now if we assume this as a flower, we can consider this as a central line or central point of the flower. So this flower can be cut into 2 equal halves in any plane. Either it can be cut in this plane, either it can be cut in this, or in this way, or in this. You can cut in any direction. The only thing, it has to cross the central line or central axis. When it crosses the central line or central axis, we get 2 equal halves. Such kind of flower is called as actinomorphic flower. And opposite to this is a zygomorphic. So what is zygomorphic? The same definition. The flower can be cut into 2 equal halves in only one plane. So the arrangement of the whorls will be in such a way that the flower can be cut only in, if we cut it in a one plane passing through the central line, we get 2 equal halves. If we cut in any other plane, we won't get 2 equal halves. So here the word only one plane, that is very important, can be cut into 2 equal halves in only one plane passing through the central axis. So they are called as zygomorphic. So if the flower, let us take this as a whorls of a flower. So this flower can be cut in only one plane, we get 2 equal halves. If we cut in any other direction, we won't get the 2 equal halves. So that condition is called as zygomorphic. And the actinomorphic, it is represented by a symbol, circle. Inside the circle we will write the plus symbol. This is a symbol which represents for actinomorphic, whereas the zygomorphic, it is represented with the symbol of percentage. So this two, the flower, based on the cutting of the flower passing through the central axis, the flower it is divided into two categories. One is actinomorphic condition and the another one is zygomorphic. The actinomorphic is a condition where the flower can be cut into two equal halves in any plane. You can cross this or you can cut the flower in any plane. If you cut in any plane passing through the central line, this word is very important. We can cut the flower in any plane. If you write, you won't get the marks. You have to complete the sentence. It can be cut into two equal half in any plane passing through the central axis or central line or central point. That is very important. Central point of what? Central point of the flower. That is called as actinomorphic. Whereas zygomorphic is a flower that can be cut into two equal halves in only one plane. If we cut that only in one plane, we will get two equal halves passing through the central axis. So that is about the actinomorphic and zygomorphic flower. So next we will move with the fruit. So fruit, as we have already discussed, the fruit is developed from the ovary. The ovary, it gives rise to the fruit. The ovary, that is the ovary, matured ovary or ripened ovary. The matured ovary or the ripened ovary, it develops into a fruit and the fruit bears the seeds. Understood? Where this ovary is present? The ovary is present in the flower. Which part of the flower? Which oral of the flower? That is gynoecium. So the ovary develops into fruit and the fruit, it consists of seed. Fruit will not develop into seed, but fruit, it consists of seed. So the ovary, how it develops into fruit? And by a process of fertilization. So after fertilization, if the ovary, so in some condition without fertilization also the fruit is developed. So that I will discuss. So the ovary, in normal condition, the ovary will undergo fertilization to form the fruit. And the fruit, it consists of a seed. So this is normal fruit. Now what is this fruit made up of? The fruit consists of a wall called as pericarp. Wall means the entire fruit. It is made up of a wall called as pericarp. The entire fruit, if you take any fruit, understood, that entire fruit, it is made up of, the entire fruit itself will term it as pericarp. Along with the pericarp, inside we can see a seed. Now the seed, how it is developed? It is developed from the ovule which is present inside the ovary. So the seed is developed from ovule, whereas the fruit, it is developed from the ovary. So the matured ovary means after fertilization it develops into fruit and the fruit, it consists of seeds. Now what is this fruit made up of? The fruit is made up of a fruit wall. The fruit is made up of a fruit wall called as pericarp. Very important word, pericarp, P-E-R-I-C-A-R-P. The pericarp is the fruit wall and this pericarp along with the seed together it forms a fruit. Now what is this pericarp made up of? The pericarp, it is differentiated into three layers. The outer layer is called as epicarp, middle mesocarp and inner is called as endocarp. So the pericarp, it is differentiated into three regions. Again, the entire fruit or the entire fruit wall itself is called as pericarp, which is again divided into three categories. The outer is called as epicarp, the middle is called as mesocarp, and the inner is called as endocarp. So this pericarp, either it may be fleshy or it may be dry. ಡ್ರೈ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಅದು ಫ್ಲೆಶಿ ನೇಚರ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ವಾಟರ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್. ಡ್ರೈ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ವಿದೌಟ್ ವಾಟರ್. ಸೊ ಐದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಫ್ಲೆಶಿ ಇನ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೈ. So the fruit again it is divided into number of categories, but the basic thing is the entire pericarp, whatever the fruit you take, the entire pericarp it is differentiated into 3 layers: outer epicarp, middle mesocarp, and inner endocarp. Now let us take a best example, mango. Mango it belongs to a type of a fruit called as drupe. Drupe ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಫ್ರೂಟು. ಪೋಮ್, ಡ್ರೂಪ್ ಅಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೂಪಿಗೆ ಬಿಲಾಂಗ್ ಆಗೋದು ಯಾವುದು? ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ. Now if you take a mango, the mango outer, that's layer, whatever we will discard, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಏನು ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, that is called as epicarp. Inside that, whatever the flesh content is there, whatever it is edible to us, that is a mesocarp. ಮಾವಿನ ಹಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಲೇಯರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರದ್ದು ಈ ಸೀಡಿಗೆ ಕವರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಂಡೋಕಾರ್ಪ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಔಟರ್ ಎಪಿಕಾರ್ಪ್, ಮಿಡಲ್ mesocarp, and inner endocarp. These are the 3 layers of the pericarp. Together all the layer is termed as pericarp. So that is about the fruit. So fruit is a matured ovary or ripened ovary which is developed after fertilization. The fruit it consists, or it is made up of pericarp with a seed. But the seed is not developed from the ovary, remember, but the seed it is developed from the ovule which was present inside the ovary. Now there is another word called as parthenocarpic fruit. What is this parthenocarpic fruit? Bracket ಅಲ್ಲಿ it is also called as seedless fruit. Very important. The seedless fruit or this parthenocarpic, common ಆಗಿ ನಾವು seedless fruit ಅಂತೀವಿ. How this fruit is formed or how it is developed ಅಂದ್ರೆ, this fruit is formed or developed without fertilization. If the fruit is developed or formed without fertilization, then that type of a fruit is termed as parthenocarpic fruit. So parthenocarpic, very important definition. So the parthenocarpic fruit is a fruit which is developed without fertilization. Means there is no fusion of the gametes takes place. Only by a single gamete the fruit is formed. They are commonly called as seedless fruit. So the parthenocarpic is a fruit which is developed without fertilization. So this is just a introduction towards the fruit. Now next we'll take up with the seed. So as you already know that we have discussed earlier also, the seed it is developed from the ovule. So I have written one part, I am going to write it again. So this is a gynoecium part. So in this gynoecium, the bulged structure is called as ovary. Then comes elongated structure called as style. At the tip we can see a stigma. Ovary, style, and stigma. Now this ovary it develops into a fruit. Whereas inside the ovary there will be ovules. So we can see inside the ovary there is a ovule. Now this ovule, it develops into seed. The ovule is not termed as seed, but the ovule further during the formation of fruit it converts into seed, whereas the ovary it converts into fruit. Now what is this ovule, or what is the seed made up of? Seed is made up of the seed, it is mainly classified based on its cotyledon. It is classified into monocotyledon as well as dicotyledon. That is, if it is made up of single cotyledon, then it is called as monocot. If it is made up of two cotyledon, it is called as dicot. So what is this seed made up of? The seed, it is made up of the seed coat, embryo, and the embryo, it consists of, either it may consist of one cotyledon or it may be made up of two cotyledon. The seed coat is a covering which protects the seed. ಈಗ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಲೆಟಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಒಂದು ಅವರೆಕಾಳೆ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ನೀವು. ಅವರೆಕಾಳು ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತಲ್ವ, ಈ ಅವರೆಕಾಳು ತೊಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಅವರೆಕಾಳಿನ ಸುತ್ತ ಒಂದು ಔಟರ್ ಕವರಿಂಗ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಸೀಡ್ ಕೋಟ್. ಆ ಸೀಡ್ ಕೋಟನ್ನು ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಆ ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ನೀವು ತೆಗೆದಾಗ ಸೀಡಿಂದು, ಸೀಡ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ನಾ ಅವರೆಕಾಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡಿಸಿ ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ತೆಗೆದು ಅದ್ರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾಳನ್ನು ತಕ್ಕೋತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ನಾನು. ಒಂದು ಸೀಡ್ ನೀವು ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದ್ರ ಸುತ್ತ ಒಂದು ಕವರಿಂಗ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಸೀಡ್ ಕೋಟ್. ನಾ ದಿಸ್ ಸೀಡ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು ಔಟರ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟಾ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ ಟೆಗ್ಮೆನ್. ಔಟರ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟಾ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಟೆಗ್ಮೆನ್ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹಿಲ್ಲಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮೈಕ್ರೋಪೈಲ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್. ಸೊ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ದ ಸೀಡ್ ಕೋಟ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್. ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್ ಅಂದರೆ, ಈಗ ಲೆಟಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅವರೆಕಾಳು ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಶೇಂಗಾ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಅದರದ್ದು ಸಿಪ್ಪೆ ನೀವು ತೆಗೆದಾಗ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಎರಡು ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎರಡು ಪೀಸಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎರಡು ಪೀಸಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಡೈಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್. ಈಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಮೊನೊಕಾಟ್ಸ್. ಮೊನೊಕಾಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಗ್ರಾಸ್ ಇಂದಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸೀಡ್ಸು, ಅಥವಾ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಎನಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೇಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತೊಗೋಬೋದು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್, ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್. ಸೊ ದ ಒನ್ ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಮೊನೊಕಾಟ್ಸ್. ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ವೆರಸ್ dicotyledon or two cotyledon they are called as dicot. ಈ ಮೊನೊಕಾಟ್ ಟು ಡೈಕಾಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೆಸರು ಬಂತು ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್ಸ್. ಎರಡು ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಎರಡು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಹಾಫ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಡೈಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್. ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಹಾಫ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮೊನೊಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್. ಯಾವುದು? ಸೀಡ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ದ ಮೊನೊಕಾಟ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಗ್ರಾಸ್, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಮೇಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಮೊನೊಕಾಟ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಡೈಕಾಟ್ಸಿಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಬೀನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅವರೆಕಾಳು ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಡೈಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಶಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಇಂಟು ಮೊನೊಕಾಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೈಕಾಟ್. ಸೊ ದ ಸೀಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ structure which is developed from the ovule. So the ovule, after fertilization it develops into a seed. Now the seed, it consists of seed coat and embryonal axis anta kuda heltivi. Embryonal axis which is made up of, either it may be made up of single cotyledon or it may be made up of two cotyledon. And when the seed get enough nutrients and water content, it germinates to produce a radical. The radical which further develops into root. Later the seed further through this embryonal axis there develops a plumule. The plumule further it develops into shoot system. So hence the seed is a structure which has all the quality to develop into entire plantlet. So seed, it contains all the quality to develop into an entire plantlet. So the seed, when the seed is germinated, how it is germinated, and the seed has to be provided with a proper water supply, or it has to be soaked condition, or it has to be wet condition, and also it has to get enough nutrients. So that seed, after the germination, when it begins with the germination, the first axis will appear white color, that is called as radicle. That radicle further it develops into root, whereas after the initiation of the root for certain height, or after the radicle is developed into certain height by emerging the taproot, everything, there arises a plumule. That plumule further it develops into shoot. So hence the seed has all the values which has an ability to develop into entire plantlet. Now the seed, again it is classified into two categories. One is endospermic and another one is non-endospermic. What is this endosperm or endospermic? So first we will study what is endosperm. Endosperm. What is this endosperm antandre? It is a nutritive tissue It is a nutritive. The word nutritive, wherever you come, you should be knowing that it has all the supplement of the nutrient which is helping for to develop the embryo. Endosperm ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಬೇರೆ, embryo ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಬೇರೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ದ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ, ನಾನು ಆವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಆಕ್ಸಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡೈಕಾಟಿಲಿಡನ್. ದ ಎಂಬ್ರಿಯೋ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್, whereas the endosperm, it is made up of a nutritive tissue, and this endosperm nutritive tissue, it provides a nutrient for developing embryo. Embryo develop ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗೋದು ಯಾವುದು? ಥ್ರೂ ಎಂಡೋಸ್ಪರ್ಮ್. So based on the presence of endosperm and absence of endosperm, the seed is classified into two categories: endospermic, non-endospermic. So when this endosperm will develop in the seed, or how it is developed, and it is developed by a process called as double fertilization. So this we are going to study during a regular class. So when we will start with the chapter, there I am going to discuss with the concept of double fertilization. Double fertilization, triple fusion, is a mechanism which is mainly seen in the angiosperm plants. So the double fertilization process leads to the development of a nutritive tissue called as endosperm. So if the seed contain endosperm, then they are called as endospermic seeds, or it is also called as albuminous seed. Endospermic seed, or it is also called as albuminous seed. If the seed does not contain endospermic, it is called as non-endospermic or exalbuminous seed. So hence, based on the presence and absence of the endosperm, the seed, it is classified into endospermic and non-endospermic. So what is this endosperm? The endosperm is a nutritive tissue which is developed at the time of double fertilization mechanism. So this endosperm, it supplies the nutrient for the developing embryo. So the embryonal axis, either it may be made up of single cotyledon or it may be made up of two cotyledon. Understood? So this is about the seed in general. So seed is a structure which is developed from the ovule after fertilization. The seed, it is outer surrounded by a seed coat. The seed coat further it is divided into outer testa and inner tegmen. And next, the seed, it consists of an embryonal axis. The embryonal axis, either it may be made up of single cotyledon or it may be made up of two cotyledon. Next, the embryo itself, it further develops into a plantlet, or it gives rise to radicle and plumule after germination. That is the process of germination which leads to the seed coat will be ruptured, radicle emerges, later the radicle which develops into certain height, later there arises a plumule, the radicle develops into root, whereas the plumule it develops into shoot. Next, the seed contains the nutritive tissue called as endosperm. So this nutritive tissue, how it is developed or when it is developed, and it is developed at the time of process called as which type of fertilization? Double fertilization. So this endosperm, what is its main function of the endosperm? Means the main function of the endosperm is it helps or it supplies the nutrient for the developing embryo. The embryo itself, it gives rise to new plant. Next, based on the presence of and absence of endosperm, the seed again it is classified into two categories. One is endospermic seed and the another one is non-endospermic seed. So endospermic seed is also called as albuminous seed, which contains the nutritive tissue which helps for the developing embryo. The non-endospermic is also called as exalbuminous, which mainly lacks the endosperm. Understood? So that is about the seed. So after this seed, fruit, seed, everything, the next there are three families in your syllabus. One is family Fabaceae, Solanaceae and Liliaceae. So whatever the characters what we have studied up to this seed, all the characters in a symbolically way and in a schematic representation we are going to exhibit, or we are going to write it in the family. So the family, whenever you are writing any of the families in a plant, so you have to begin with the root and it will end up in the seed. So the family again, the families are again classified into two types. One is, two types means either you can write the general characteristic features in the form of points of that family, or you can write in a systematic diagram, that is floral formula and floral diagram. That is a diagrammatic representation and symbolic representation of a particular family. So there are three families in your syllabus: Fabaceae, Solanaceae and Liliaceae. The same family again you are going to study in your practical also. So that is about the seed. So next we'll start with the another concept, that is animal kingdom. So that we are going to start in the next session. So I am going to glance whatever the concept we have studied in this morphology. So first, in the morphology of the flowering plants, we have studied with the root. In the root, primary, we have mainly studied with taproot and fibrous root. Next, the root again it is modified into, there are different types of modification based on the storage of food, or it is involved in gaseous exchange. There are different categories, again modification categories are there. So that in detail we'll study. Next, after the seed we have taken up with the shoot system. So in the shoot system, the shoots is the aerial part which is exposed to air, and that aerial part it mainly consists of several branches. The branches it bears the leaves, fruits, flowers, seed, fruit, flower, as well as buds, etc. So there is another one basic word what I am going to explain, what I have we have skipped in the last class. There is two words. One is axillary word and another one is terminal. What is the word axillary and terminal? Axillary means, they will say the word axillary buds or axillary leaves, terminal buds. What is the word axillary and terminal? Now let us consider this as a shoot, one twig. If the buds arises at the axis ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ ಈ ಸಂಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಈ ಎರಡು ಇದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆದ್ರೆ then it is called as axillary. If the buds arises at the tip of the plant, then it is terminal. ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಟಿಪ್ ರೀಜನ್, ತುದಿ, ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುದಿ ಬೆಳೆದ್ರೂ ಟರ್ಮಿನಲ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳೋದು. ಈ ಎರಡು ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ಸಿನ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ಈ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ, ಬೆಳೆದ್ರೆ then this is called as axillary. So that is about the axillary and terminal. So let